Okay, we just wanted to catch you up on day 3. We have all 4 openings framed up. We brought in our steel. This is what we talked about here. This is taking the place of the king stud, and because of the bracket we had them weld on, we don't have to have the 2 jack studs, which is giving so much more glass to the window. So this one's on an angle, so that's why he's got our bracket framed on an angle there. And then we put 2x4s in. We had him weld bolts on that stuck out, and we drilled holes so that we could attach that. So now we have something to screw to besides the steel. So we have a big picture window here. One of his concerns was how to get electricity down the wall. So so what we did here was we cut a groove in here so he can drop his wires down all the way, coming down here and through here so we can have his electrical boxes. So we've got this opening here. We have our laminated power beam sitting on the steel here. All the way across, this is going to be one big door. We have ours here, and this is sitting on the welded bracket here to get our angle. And then here we have just one big laminated power beam, really long, just so we can give them as much glass as possible. But this is the thing I was talking about on day 1. We're getting down to 4 inches, which if you remember, what they had here with all the kings and the jack studs, it was almost a foot, 10 to 12 inches of frame. So we're really narrowing it down for them. We put the little pony wall in here just because they want electrical on this wall, so that's the whole purpose of this. If it wasn't for that, we could have dropped that all the way down, but they really needed their electricity because this is the big family room. So that pretty much gets us up to date for where we're at. The guys are down here, if you want to take a shot at that. They're building the frames. It's Brandon and Nate down there. They're building the frames to put together. Once we get those together, we can install them into our openings, get them square and level, plumb and true, and then we'll be ready to set the glass into the units. So we're hoping to get all this installed today. That'd be great. It's gonna be a good day. Excited about it.
I like to think about this, you ever reverse sear a steak? Like it takes forever, and then when it gets to that perfect 120 degrees, you pull it off and you turn on the fire, and like in the last 3 minutes, Jeremy, the steak smells so good and the grill lines are there and it just is so awesome. And that's kind of where we are, almost there. I mean, we're getting close, right?
Right.
What did you do today? I mean, you put in the doors, the windows.
So we did. We installed everything, and we started finishing it out over the steel. They didn't really want to put sheetrock here like they're going to do everywhere else, so they asked us to custom make a piece to blend all that. So I've been working on that today.
I know what it is, but for those who don't, this looks just like that window, right? Especially on the camera, because you can't appreciate nearly as much of it. But this is not window frame, correct?
Correct.
This is window frame.
Right.
This is not window frame.
Right.
And then this is window frame.
Right.
And this is not even an actual 90-degree bend. How did you achieve a bend like this?
Well, on the break, we have the machine over here, actually, and here's a piece earlier I was bending. This is the material here.
Here's a good close-up of that thickness, guys, if you can see right there. This is, do you know the mill on this?
I don't.
Okay. Thin, let's just call it thin mill. And the idea here is that it's strong enough to hold its shape, but also flexible enough that we can bend it to make whatever kind of corners we want.
Right.
And so we can get this stuff on a coil, a long coil, and we use this machine. This is called a brake.
Right.
And with that, we bend. Are you in the middle of bending one right now?
Yeah, I could bend one right now.
You want to bend something?
Yeah, sure.
So they can see what you're doing?
Sure.
Okay, so come up here and check out what Jeremy's doing. This is a long machine that has this lever, and it causes, when it pulls down on that, it actually causes this to turn on these little rollers. It's kind of hard to see them here, but then it'll just bend this to whatever shape we want. And so Jeremy's going to bend that. Okay,
So I'm going to cut this one off, actually.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you scored it. Okay.
Because this is the width I need on this one.
Okay, so first you take your roll and you cut the width you want.
Right, right. That gives me what I need.
All right.
And I don't have that one measured yet, so I'll just show you a little piece down here.
So this kind of gives us an idea of how this works.
Right. So like if you needed, call that 4.5, this would be a whole piece.
Right.
If I didn't need a full 90, you know, I needed about a 45, I could do it like that.
Ah.
And then that gives you kind of those angles. And you want to go a little under so that you can go back and check it and bend it a little bit more.
Until you get where you want to be. Exactly. Hey, you know, you showed me one time, and we'll do a video on just bending sometime, because a lot of you guys probably like that. Show me how you do that little nice cool edge, because otherwise we're going to have an unfinished edge on this.
The hem?
Yeah, the hem. Thank you.
Okay. So to hem it, you go all the way over and lift up.
Okay.
And open it. Close your brake. Put that in there. That gives you that hem there. That's a little piece, so it kind of creased a little bit more.
Right, yeah, but I mean, I get the idea. Now you have a nice rolled, hemmed edge
Right.
versus just the sharp, clean
Exactly.
edge. And then, of course, where we connect to the product, now we're going to need a color matching sealant
Right.
to just make that connection there. Okay, perfect. So the doors went in, the windows went in, and to me, I mean, of course, we had a little bit of breeze out here today, and they did a controlled burn, so it's not as bright as it was, but I just feel like there's so much more light.
It is. It is. I had a blast on this one.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. It just opened everything up a lot.
Now, I don't know if they can hear that or not, Jeremy, but it's pretty quiet in here, and there's a big wind going outside. I'm going to open the door and then see if you pick it up on the mic. You ready? I don't know if I can hear it. Can you hear it?
I hear it.
Yeah. You know what I like about this Fleetwood door, too, is it just glides so easily. I mean, look at that. It's just perfect. Now, if you notice, viewers, because we talked about this at the beginning, this is not a typical size door where this panel is the same size as that panel. This panel will only go to here, and then it'll come to a stop. And that's on purpose. Of course, we don't want to go too far, because if you go too far, you know what will happen? You'll hit your fingers out here, and that would really hurt. So it comes to a stop. But if you notice, we have a lot of glass on that side and a smaller piece on this side. This is still big enough. When Bruce was talking about being able to come in and out of here, he's still big enough to come in and out of this side. He's got one over there on that side. But when you stand back and just kind of take a look at the room, you realize that pretty much the view, all the way from there, all the way over to here, is just glass with this small interruption here, vertical interruption. And Jeremy, if I remember right, you were telling me at the beginning, we wanted to go with steel because we wanted a very small.
We got down to 4 inches of frame.
Okay.
And they had roughly about 11 inches before.
Okay.
So if we would have had to install our products inside of an 11-inch frame, they would have cut their view down like this by the time you add the frame of the window and door.
Right. And it's worth adding too that this is actually a corner, you know, where we take a corner and then we make another turn as well. If this had been a straight flat surface, that beam itself, you know, you wouldn't have the same amount of framing involved with it because of the way it comes across. I think we've done some that were, what was it, like 3 inches? I think we did one, or was it 4 inches?
As far as getting
As
small?
far as how close can we get together on supporting a beam like this?
Yeah, about 3.5 is about as small as you can, but we had to go with the steel. So
if we're going with steel,
yeah,
right? Yeah, if we're going with steel, we can go pretty narrow.
We brought an engineer in for this
Okay.
to make sure that the weight load and everything would be adequate, and he told us the 4-inch steel beam is the smallest we can go. We'd have went smaller if we could have.
Well, yeah. Yeah, but cantilevering and stuff like
Right,
that is
yeah.
kind of out of the question here. So another comment about Fleetwood before we let you go and wrap this up. You know, Fleetwood is, and you've heard me describe it this way, they're kind of the Rolls Royce of the product like this. You can get stuff that costs less. You can get stuff that's not this nice that costs more. So price is not always the point I'm discussing. This is really a very well built product from a company in Corona, California called Fleetwood. And they're privately owned. They're very, I'd say, what would you say, fascinated with quality?
Yeah.
And I mean, just the detail that they put into it. We went there, and we've been on a lot of window and door tours, but it was certainly...
They couldn't quit talking about all the different product lines and what they've done to over-engineer everything. They love talking about it, so they were very excited about that.
And one of the things that I thought was surprising was I was shocked by it, that they almost reject as much material as they accept from their suppliers sometimes, because they want this material to be consistent. They want this color to be the same on every door and every window in your house and not get these variations. And since it is an actual organic material, this is anodized aluminum, you're not always going to get the same results. This is not a painted product. So that being the case, consistency is so important. And by the way, they say this, I kind of believe them, that the stuff they reject goes into some of their competitors' products. So it doesn't go to waste. It just doesn't go into the Fleetwood. Fleetwood is definitely la creme de la creme, as they would say if we were drinking some French coffee right now. So Jeremy, what's left to be done here?
So these same mull covers I made to cover the steel, I'm actually going to do that on the exterior because they like it so much. So I'll be back tomorrow to do that. And after that, we'll just make sure it's all sealed up everywhere, and we'll turn it over to his siding crew. They're going to do the exterior, and then he can start sheetrocking and all that. So. Well,
Jeremy, you did a really good job.
Well, thank you. It was a blast.
Appreciate all your hard work.
Thank you.
And next, coming up, if the homeowner will talk to us, I'm going to get Bruce back here, and we'll see what he thinks about the project.
I know. But I mean, when she came out here, I saw her walk up like this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so, you ready? Sorry. Is the audio rolling?